And we are picking up with session 27. Last session, the party absolutely destroyed the heck out of a Hydra, much to the DM's frustration. That was supposed to be an amazingly challenging encounter, and it just didn't go that. But prior to that happening, um, the party spent the session before cleaning up after the major earthquake that hit the city of Amman, each kind of applying their own different skills to help out all the citizens and denizens of the. And while the city was kind of teeming around them, not feeling, most of them not feeling super connected as they're new in the city, they don't necessarily have a lot of really deep ties. Um, you guys went about your days, and in particular, Zane decided to explore the invitation to the Gentlemen's Club. Despite the fact that he could have brought a manservant, he decided to go on his own. He made his way to the lower slums to a discreet looking location where he was told to don a mask and entered this club, which turned out to be basically a cover for a bunch of rich noblemen to trade slaves, buy slaves, among other things, alcohol, women, all of the nefarious kind of underworld dealing. Zane listened in, got a little bit of gossip, planted a little bit of gossip, and watched a bunch of slaves go across the auction block. To his frustration, he didn't have enough money to buy and free all of them, but he did end up making a purchase at the very end of a middle aged bard named Marcus, who he actually recognized from the list of debtors that the bank had given him. After making their way out of the club, Zane freed Marcus and invited him to basically act as a compatriot to help him with some tasks that he had to complete. Marcus agreed to listen to his proposals, but has not necessarily agreed to participate in them yet. But in the meantime, like a little lost puppy, Zane brought him home to the Laughing Llama and invited him to stay there for the time being. While all of this is happening, Kamara decides to include the sweet, innocent little Charlene on a prostitution job that she's decided to accept. The Madame of the Open Lily sent Kamara an invitation to compete for the job of seducing a foreign gentleman who was offering 1,500 gold pieces for the night with an exotic woman. And she figured her chances were better if she brought the very interestingly exotic Charlene along with her. It ended up in their favor. Kamara was able to use some manipulation magic to rule out the competition, and the two of them entered the bedchamber of this foreign noble who told them a story that he is a bounty hunter and is after a man called the Kingslayer, who was an assassin that took out the king of his country, which is called the Fiendfell. It's a frozen wasteland to the north of Tal'dorei. He tells the women that if they are able to apply their skills and use what they can in order to gain information about the Kingslayer that leads to his capture, then the bounty hunter would provide them with their share of. And they negotiated very heavily for that share, and it ended up being a third for each of them. And then Kamara completed her other duties with Charlene standing awkwardly in the corner. And that faded to black very quickly. Aramil spent most of the day babysitting Castellama and watching over Lysander as Vale Aaron spent the afternoon in the city trying to help out the locals. When Vale returned, they had a little bit of a confrontation in which Vale told Aramil that he needs to be very careful what he says and does around Lysander. Aramil returned to the Laughing Llama, still in the possession of Castellama, who was taken by Bailey for some babysitting, kind of freeing up Aramil for that evening. And at one point, the party was gathered late morning, or excuse me, early morning, in the common room of the llama, discussing everything that had happened. Zane, in particular, was telling them about the slave trade and gave Aramil some interesting information that he heard that a year ago, which is about the time that Aramil's tribe had come through Ramon, that there were a number of tattooed elves who were being sold at this auction. Aramil agreed that while he doesn't really care all that much about the city and stopping the slave trade itself, that he was very interested in learning more. And that was a discussion that was happening when Charlene started hearing and feeling some strange sensations from outside and brought it to the party's attention, hearing the roar. Oh my gosh, that word kills me every single time. Hearing the, I need to Google synonym for roar. Roar, I can't say it.
I'm working on my raw.
Roar.
Rather uninspiring thing.
Hearing a massive growl, the party rushed out to find citizens fleeing from the Cloudtop district, where, of course, they ran headfirst into danger and ended up fighting and destroying a Hydra that was climbing its way out of Thordak's crater. They realized that the creature itself was fleeing from cave-ins further down. There were a number of other dead creatures, sporlings, and some of the other ones that they recognized from their foray into Thordak's lair before, um, all spread around the Cloudtop district, including some bodies of some dead guards. So, as the group of you is standing right here above the fallen corpse of the Hydra, with all of its crushed and severed heads, looking down into the crater, that is where we are going to pick up and take it away.
So Zane had gone to find I'm forgetting the guy's name again, but he went to find him to kind of let him know what happened.
Well,
That's the one, Jacob Lattice.
Okay, Zane, you spend a little time, maybe 5 minutes, looking around the area when eventually you come upon a group of guards who tell you that they're more than happy to locate him for you. They look like they've been in a battle themselves. They've got some kind of green ooze and slime on their, and they ask you what happened to you because you're looking a little rough.
I'm looking rough.
You look like you've been in combat.
Oh, I probably got a lot of the Hydra's blood on me. I didn't get hit once.
yeah, you
Stop.
probably have a lot, like so much Hydra blood.
Stop making the GM feel inadequate with her encounters.
Hey,
No, I just was very
not that
efficient.
you weren't good. It's just I'm a better tank than he is.
I really, really need to remember to pop my little purple pill before we start these.
Wait. Did I just hear that Charlene was a better tank than me?
Yeah, I'm the one that took all of the damage and let my allies like do damage. I was drawing the aggro. I was.
You.
Hang on,
You were just incredibly unlucky.
Pause.
He had disadvantage when he hit you. And that
I need
disadvantage was from
popcorn.
me.
Yes,
Okay.
and mage drawing aggro let you take extra attacks. Hence, me being the tank and drawing
My
aggro.
shield is
So you
protecting
could.
everybody behind me.
Okay. Fishing line. Reeling it in. Ooh. Munch.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'm imagining my popcorn right now. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds so bad.
So yes,
Okay.
I basically let them know that we fought a giant multi-headed dragon, and that there's going to be a lot of cleanup.
They are absolutely impressed with you until you mention the cleanup, and then they lose interest.
Basically, I said it in a way like we totally killed it. That's kind of what I'm going at with. There's going to be a lot of cleanup.
Gotcha. Okay. Are you going to make your way back to the others?
Sure, I let them know where I'm going to be.
Okay, so you're headed back. In the meantime, Aramil, Charlene, and Kamara, after a few minutes, you guys are kind of standing around cleaning off, inspecting the body of this creature, and keeping a close eye on the crater while you wait for Zane to return. Some of the city guards approach you, and they are surrounding the tall, blonde headed figure of a.
I pinged pretty bad, so I didn't hear who they were surrounding.
Wow, I'm sorry. Um, Surrounding the tall, blonde headed form of Alora. Alora.
Yes, okay.
Did you get it that time?
I did, yes.
Yay. Okay, so Alora approaches you guys, looking at the corpse of the Hydra as she does so. Is everyone okay?
All of us are. Um, I I think that most civilians were able to escape before this did too much damage.
She puts a hand to her forehead, and as she gets closer to you guys, you realize that she has changed quite. This is the first time that you've really gotten a close look at her since her assassination by Freya, or I should say her beheading by Freya. So it's the first time you've seen her since her resurrection.
Mhm.
And it has taken a toll on her. You can tell that she has aged. And there's a long streak of white on the right side of her blonde hair. She looks very tired. And as you're thinking about this, you recollect the fact that her tower was one of the buildings that fell during the earthquake the other night. So not only has she sustained the kidnapping of her son, her own decapitation, but now her home has been destroyed.
And her home's been destroyed for like the second or third time in like 2 or 3.
Yes, you do not want to be a Laura right now.
Yeah.
This continues to get worse and worse. She says aloud.
Well, it does. Would do you have a plan? Does the council have a plan?
We were actually discussing that when we heard that there were creatures coming up from the crater. But yes, we do have a plan of sorts. And Zane, this is when you return to the group. She kind of acknowledges you with a bow of her chin.
Yeah, I say, I introduce myself into the scene by saying off camera, and what would that plan be? And then I walk into camera.
I've contacted the Alabaster Lyceum, and they're sending all of their students and all of their professors here this very morning. Our plan is, through the use of wizard spells, to scry out the crater. We'll be able to send familiars down into the crater and scry the familiars. The Cartographers Guild is going to come as well, and we're going to map out the crater itself. It's my suspicion that there's been damage done underground. Perhaps by these creatures, perhaps by something else, perhaps by Thordak years ago. But there's great concern among the council that this may not be the last quake.
Well, it would certainly take several days, wouldn't it?
We have upwards of 30 mages coming in the morning. Hopefully, no. Hopefully, we'll have an answer by tomorrow evening.
Very well. Would you let us know what you find? Maybe we'd be able to help in some way.
She glances around at the guards who have kind of dissipated a little bit to give you guys room to talk. Some of them are over kicking the corpse of the high. A couple of them are collecting mementos of scales and cloth. She leans into the group of you. Actually, I was hoping that you would make that offer. As you know, things aren't well for the council right now. One missing, one presumed dead, one betrayed, and now Gilmore has quit as well. I'm hoping that having you as a third party will benefit us. And honestly, there are very few right now in the city that I trust as much as the group of you. And I still need to tell you thank you for recovering. Well,
You don't have to say it. It was the least we could do.
she gives a small shudder. And then she looks around. Where's the dwarf?
After Freya happened, he left to find his daughter and make sure that Freya can get
Well,
to, yeah.
We're
that's
not sure if you
unfortunate.
heard the full story, but the reason that he had your head was because as part of a threat towards his family. Understandably, ended up going back, make sure they were okay.
That's unfortunate for the group of you, but I believe he made the right decision.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Family is one of the most important things.
Well, I'm sure that when the time comes, you will find yourself with many allies. And I hope you will count myself as one.
We absolutely do, or else
Yes.
we wouldn't have done what we did.
For the time being, I'm going to be staying with Gilmore and Mina. If you need me, you can find me there. But otherwise, I'll be in contact with you tomorrow evening.
if you need anything from us or anything at all, just let us know.
I extend the same offer to you, and she gives a small bow.
Zane will bow.
Aramil too gets caught up in the bows and gives his respect.
Charlotte too.
The Hydra bows as well. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
She bows, I bow, you bow, the Hydra bows, the guards bow, the city bows.
Okay.
This is
She
just
leaves.
nearby bows. Oh shit, it's a mimic.
Okay, so she
Yeah,
leaves. The guards leave, and the group of you are standing around the gruesome, sloppy, gut-covered corpse of the Hydra.
I turn to the others and I say I've sent word to Lannis to meet me here, so just to kind of let him know what happened and just to see if he needs any assistance from us with the cleanup. What are you two going to do?
Aramil looks up at
Three,
the
three, he says to Kamara.
Sorry, what was that last part?
I was like, you three. I turned to Kamara.
Oh. Go ahead, Aramil.
all right. Aramil turns back from his Hydra, giving it like a nasty look as it was dead. And he turns back to Zane and looks up at the sky and says, I'm actually supposed to meet Gilmore around now. I don't want to keep him waiting too much. And he looks down and he's too covered in Hydra blood. He didn't do much of the slashing, but he was adjacent to it, so a good portion of it is probably covering him.
Yeah, especially since you like went underneath it and you slid underneath it and kicked out its legs and stuff. Yeah, you probably rolled around in the blood. Zane says, "Oh well, I can take care of what's going on here. Go and meet with Gilmore."
Aramil pauses for a second. Actually, Gilmore might enjoy me more like this. He seemed to enjoy how I was dressed before, and this feels awfully simple.
Does he look similar, or is it like he's just covered in like bluish blood or greenish blood or reddish blood, or what color blood would this be?
Well, he is indeed shiny, just like he was the other day. But it's more of a like brackish, brownish black shine. It's not as quite as attractive as the oil. Although there are still some remnants of that on your skin, Aramil. It's been very hard for you to get it out.
And it hasn't actually been that long since.
No, it's only been a day. One day, one bath.
Well, Aramil brushes the blood off him to the best that he can. Kamara, I assume, may help with some prestidigitation, but it would take too long to like dry out something completely, and he's already late, so he's just gonna head over to the estate.
Okay. So, Aramil, you start striding away, and as you are leaving the area, you pass Jacob Lannis, who glances over.
I'll just give him a nod, and Aramil will call back. Make sure you all are back at the llama. Go over our plan before we offer our help.
And Aramil departs. You see him cross paths with Jacob. They give each other a glance, and Jacob walks up to the three of you. He throws a wink at you, Charlene, but he addresses Zane. Really, why is it that every time there's a catastrophe, I see your face?
Because I'm the solution.
He extends a hand. It's obvious he means it in jest.
Yep. I'll kind of like try to like you know how you shake your hand to get like goo off your hand. I do that. I try to do that, and I go, "Are you sure you want to shake this?"
He takes a step back. Yeah, I'll pass.
So yes, this is our newest situation here.
I don't think you can call it a situation anymore, he says, and he wipes one of his boots where he accidentally stepped into a puddle. Was this one of your things? Like the tentacles? You kind of seem to have a theme, he says to Charlene.
No, these are more heady, tentacly. And she like arms around while she's saying heads and tentacles.
He seems very amused and gives a side glance at Zane.
So I just wanted to let you know that this has been taken care of, and if you need any help with the cleanup efforts, um, let us know.
Actually, now that I think about it, I have some great people to do exactly this dirty. Let's just
Oh yeah.
say that they were some of the guards that were a little complicit in their allowance of what happened. Not that they participated, but
Interesting. How
it,
how has that been going? Is it still ongoing, or have you rooted them all out?
most of the major perpetrators have been fired. And let's just say it wasn't pleasant for them.
So they weren't just fired; they were fired and reprimanded.
I can't say that on the record.
Understood.
Most of them won't be sitting for a week.
Well, thank you so much for taking care of that. I knew we could rely on you.
He grits his teeth a little bit. Yeah, she may not be very fond of me, but I actually like the.
Well, uh, is there anything that you need as far
No,
as anything? No.
he looks over at the corpse. We'll take it from here. You just keep doing your hero.
Well, thank you, Lannis. I appreciate it. I think I'm gonna take a bath.
I think you have a very valid idea.
Charlene, what are you going to be what are you gonna do?
He grins and says, "Yeah, Charlene, what are you going to do?"
Well, my plan was go down that hole, but I guess that's going to wait for professionals to come map it out for us first. So I don't know. I think I'll just hang around here for now.
Okay. Well, I will see you back at the llama.
See you back at the llama.
So I'm gonna go get all this blood off of me and stuff, and then I'm gonna start on some on wrapping up some of my missions.
Okay, Kamara decides to go with you, Zane. She wants to get back to the llama and relieve Bailey from babysitting Kostiyama. And she didn't really get all bloody gory, but she still feels like she needs a bath after what she just witnessed.
Okie dokie.
So Zane exits. That leaves Kamara. She exits with Zane. So now we are left with Charlene standing next to Jake. You know, you really don't have to stay.
Yeah, I know.
Well, let's supervise this. Although, you might want to take your pickings before the rest of them come. I've adventured a little bit myself and realized that sometimes claws, teeth, scales, they can sell for quite a bit. I'll give you a hand if you want.
Sure, yeah, I think that's a great idea. Thanks.
So he goes over to one of the guards and gives them instructions, and you see them run off with a list of people. And the two of you start working on cutting up the corpse. Go ahead and make 3. You can either do survival or you can do nature. Make 3
Okay, I
checks.
think so. Okay. And because he's helping, are they at advantage?
Yeah, he'll give you advantage. Okay, so the first thing that you try to remove is some of the claws, and you're able to salvage 3 Hydra claws. The fourth one, unfortunately, broke on Aramil's staff. The second thing that you try to salvage is some of the eyeballs. Um, and really, most of them are destroyed, either smashed under Aramil's staff or slashed by Zane's sword or magicked by Kamara's magic. That was very eloquent. Did you hear that? You find one eyeball that looks intact, but as you go to pluck it out, it just kind of pops and oozes all over you. You hear Jacob kind of gag in his throat. And then the third thing, excuse me, numbers are not in my wheelhouse today, apparently. The third thing that you try to harvest are some of the teeth. And you are able to harvest 2 Hydra teeth. So if you would kindly add that to your inventory.
Okay.
By the time you finish that, the grunts have arrived. They look very meek, and he sets about instructing them on how to destroy the rest of this corpse. The plan is that they're basically going to build a bonfire, and then the rest of them are going to wash down the blood with water and brooms, basically. And he grabs your arm and kind of pulls you over to this little side area here, helps himself to a couple apples after wiping his hands off, and sits up on the table to chat with you while this is happening.
Yeah, so with him wiping off his hands, Charlene opens up a water and uses shape water to clean off the eye gook and other Hydra part.
All in a day's work, right?
Exactly.
Is
It's
this,
strange is the type of thing I'm getting used to.
I was just about to say, is this what it's like to live a day in your life?
I was, is this what it's like living in Amman? Because this is not how it was back in Veshra.
Oh, this isn't what it was pre-Charlene either. He taps his chin. Maybe there's some kind of correlation to that. Should I be concerned?
Maybe, just maybe.
So, Vera?
Yeah.
Really?
Um,
I mean, not that I'm not fond of her, but it's kind of like trying to cuddle a sword.
which I gotta say, until now, I haven't tried to do.
That's because you're a smart person. Just don't let that sanity slip away right now.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Ouch. We'll see. He puts a hand over his heart.
Chilling and on his shoulder. Well, maybe I just need a little bit more convincing.
He gives you a grin and reaches behind the counter of this stall that you guys have taken over and starts digging around and finds a bottle of wine. And to make a long story short, you two spend the afternoon supervising the cleanup, eating fruit and drinking wine, and kind of just chatting. Okay, so that is that for that scene. And I'll let you decide how well he persuades you or does not persuade you.
Okay.
And we are going to jump over to where are we going to jump to? What am I in the mood for? Let's see.
Have your pick of whatever you want.
I know, it's wonderful. And you didn't even hear me complain about you guys splitting the party in every direction again.
I mean, to be fair, if we stuck together here, it might be a little boring where everyone has their like targeted goal. Just sort of listen in.
As I said, you heard no complaint from me. Okay, Aramel. Still covered in gore as the morning sun rises. You cross the Cloud District over towards the glorious state of Gilmore. You get a few looks. Not unexpectedly, you're still kind of covered in this brackish gore. Everyone kind of gives you wide berth as you cross the district. And then you find yourself in front of the familiar gates and the magical barrier, ringing the bell. This time, instead of the servant coming out, the barrier just drops.
Well, that's easy. Steps inside.
As you step through, you feel like a little bit of a breeze behind you, and you turn to see that the barrier has reconstructed itself.
Elf. Don't walk backwards in. Aramil straight back. Continues moving forward. Presence is known. He understands that. He still knocks at the.
By the way, as you glance away from the barrier, you can't help but notice that oh so familiar rune glimmering in the center of it. The snooty elf with the coiffed hair opens the door. Good morning, oh.
Aramil bows to him and speaks. Sorry, can chance encounter with a Hydra. Not very.
It's still not very pleasant. He looks you up and down. There is this thing called etiquette. Perhaps we should have a discussion.
I had to taking my point timer, looking my best. I know which one.
Yet still, I'm not going to allow you to enter the estate like that. Tracking whatever all that is all over my floor. There is a hose around back.
Right, that's fair. Aramil walks around the estate, admiring the very detailed aura and bush trimmings.
It doesn't take you long to find the hose.
He takes off his vest and his cloth pants and sprays them down separately, and does his best to run out after. They're at the very least just damp. Gives himself a little sort of pushing, twisting his braids together, and looks back down at himself, or present, and heads inside.
Actually, as you turn to go inside, you hear a chuckle. Oh, actually, I'm right here. You don't need to go back. And you glance off to the side, and there's a gazebo there, and you see Gilmore sitting there with a glass of wine. Apparently, he's been there the whole time.
Well, sorry to waste some of your time there. If I had known you were back here, I would.
Oh, don't apologize. I enjoyed the view.
Aramil said, "Must see this garden all."
He looks at you incredulously for a second, thinking that you're jesting, and then eventually realizes you're not and gives a sigh.
Aramil recognized. I missed an expression. That's a expression that
Yes, you did indeed.
Aramil sighs. When there's more time, I'd love to learn exactly what it.
How can I be of service to you?
Aramil sits down and reaches into his very wet makeshift rucksack. His various belongings. About something that he's had for a very long time. It's a sheet of paper with a very crude. He pulls it out. I need your help with. Symbol is indeed symbol of protection that etched into the field around.
I would be very interested to hear why you're curious about this.
In order to really understand, I have to ask you. Explained everything in regards to what happened in a shooting the last person that found clothes.
Unfortunately, I have to say, I don't think I've heard the whole story. I know that there are some things she's keeping from me, particularly your interesting friend. She
Oh,
said that it's not her story to tell, and I understand that.
I may miss some of this. Let's say it's because of that friend who covered this. But before then, my clan, I have very vague memories of dealing with the packages with this case. It marked on parchment, well, uh, and something happened to them. And based off of happened to them and our incident unnamed, we believe that someone that knows is this has done something. Verification and has half completely killed, half vanished about a year ago. Very interesting. Who else may
Well, first, let me say that I'm very saddened to hear that.
That aside. Thanks for that. Like chest heaves and takes a moment to.
And as you're taking that moment to focus, he kind of slides over closer to you and puts a hand on your shoulder. Well, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is there are very, very few people that I know of that are capable of producing these symbols to any effect. The bad news is, of those few people, I really have no clue of who it might be. You see, this symbol is called a rune, and it's a very particular type of magic. One that I was born into, you could say. Although it does tend to run in lines of arcanists. It's a very, very uncommon skill. I'm what you would call a rune child. And there are a few people born this way that have the innate ability to use the power within their bodies to create these runes. I can only say that I've actually met one other, and he is far from here in Marquette and certainly would not be involved in any of what you spoke of. Of this, I'm sure. Do you have any idea who might have done this? Anything to narrow down my search?
Aramel brings his. Ponders for about 30 seconds. Well, I did learn something recently about what happened after him. Survivors, unfortunately, got a not quite a positive. I followed them from where we lived in and expanded Singorn on. Came here about a year ago. Themselves, I imagine, would be ridiculous. A lot of people, and I learned why. Allura managed to get some information for me. Someone said that this was a council where the elves were apparently labeled as crooks bringing contraband. However, I've had follow up from Singorn. There was no someone in the council lied about contacting Singorn. And after that, they seem to have slipped through the city underground slave trade.
He gives a low whistle.
The hint is that someone was prepared enough to set up a fake backstory and set them up to be sold. If that is the same person that could have made collaborating, someone from the council after they arrived in.
Well, let's see then. He holds up a hand, the one that's not on your shoulder, and lifts one finger and says, "Who do we know that was clever enough to deceive the entire council into thinking that she was a good, prosperous person. Who do we know that was clever enough to deceive the entire city of Amon into believing that she was just another low level magic user? Who do we know that was powerful enough to almost defeat Mina in battle?
That's a rhetorical question. I understand.
I'm sure you do.
But she a very recent member of the council? How recent?
She's been around for about a year. So it would have been, based on your timeline, very early in her.
As the
Certainly.
she may be capable of powerful magic, maybe even runes. If she were just there, do you think that she would have the political power and all of this political nonsense that people?
Dear, I could manage something like that in a day.
Let's out a sigh. So you're saying it's easy?
Not easy, but for someone who has the right connections, it's doable. She certainly had to have help within the city.
Well, if it was Freya that's and set up all of that lead, pretty much.
No, I don't think so. He kind of rubs his beard and sits back, taking the opportunity to kind of stretch his arm around. Now that I think about it, the friend that I mentioned, quite capable. Let me let me reach out to him. Let's just say he's made himself an idol to many of the arcanists who found themselves with the power of rune magic. He may very well have had contact with this caster. I'll see what I can find out for you.
Aramil
Although I,
eyes light up at the ever closer Fillmore. If you that
of course, although I have to warn you, if it is true that she's capable of this kind of magic, she's all that more of a deadly foe.
well, if you understand it, you can counter it.
I'll do what I can. He kind of gives you a smile. You are very lucky to have me as an ally.
I certainly Boston without help. Very thankful. He like tries to bow, but they're too close to each other and like accidentally bumps Gilmore in the head. Uh,
He chuckles. So, what are you doing the rest of the afternoon?
uh well, had to talk to Laura, who actually my council contact when you. I believe she's here as well. I have found something. Chance.
I believe she's out arranging the scrying of the lake. And he hits his forehead. Ugh.
Uh, Or did I?
No, I just remembered I committed myself to aiding in that venture. Can we take a rain check?
Aramilla. Yes, of course. As he gets up, his hands. Let me know if I don't know what I can.
Oh, don't worry. I have some plans. Have a wonderful afternoon, Aramil.
Aramill's him one last time. Ears trying to piece together. She'll enjoying the view based off of everything that happened. Stands there for like a minute. Ears are turned. Sudden eyes open. Oh,
Oh, you
looks.
look lost in thought. Would you like some wine for the road? He hands you what's left in the bottle.
Aramil downs the bottle, chugs it, nods, and walks out a little clumsier.
Yeah, go ahead and make a constitution saving throw for me.
He's not
He's
gonna
drinking
vomit.
some really, no, not vomit. He just downed some really strong stuff, and you hear Gilmore laughing behind you as you kind of stagger off a little bit.
I was about to say, he roofied you.
He's been poisoned. We found out who the person that the thing was.
Okay, so you're not incapacitated by any means, but you feel like kind of like this fire spreading through your veins, and you feel very warm and flushed. And it's just a little bit hard to focus on moving your feet as you walk away.
And he will go back to the llama for sure. Muttering to himself as he does.
I want to know what is going through his head.
He's parsing like about 27 episodes worth of innuendo that he missed.
Okay. I don't know what made that click, but that was entertaining. So, Zane, you went back to the llama, correct?
Yes. I
Okay.
cleaned myself up.
So Minxie is getting very used to you in your midday bath. I should say morning baths. And it is actually already poured and ready by the time you get back to the llama.
Thank you, Minxie.
You're welcome. I've missed you. All of you. You haven't been around very much. But your new friend is very entertaining. And she points over to the corner where he has a lute in his hand and he's singing for a couple of the patrons. But more importantly, Bailey and Bree and Kostiama uh, are sitting there listening to his music.
He seems to be getting along pretty well.
Yeah, everyone seems to like him except Stefan. I don't understand why. The boy can be a little moody sometimes.
I'm glad you were able to give him a place to stay. He's been through a lot. Has he told you?
No, he hasn't. I didn't want to pry.
Well, if he wants to tell you, he will on his own time. Needless to say, he's been through a lot.
She glances over behind you and watches as Kamara goes over and takes Kastiyama from Bailey. Actually, Zane, do you have a second?
Sure. Of course.
Let's step into my office, she says, and as she leads you into the kitchen.
Are you sure you want me in there? I'm covered in just so much blood.
Okay, why don't you take the long way around, go back out the front door and around to the courtyard, and I'll meet
Or I could just take 5 steps to the right and, and be outside.
Either way that happens, you guys rendezvous in the courtyard. And she says, there's something I've been wanting to talk with you about.
What is that?
Your friend Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed a little something going on between her and my brother?
Honestly, no. Uh, I don't really have, I don't really pry into my my group members' personal lives unless they divulge stuff to me. Has there been something going on?
She narrows her eyes and kind of rubs her chin a little bit. He's just been acting very strangely recently.
Like happy, sad?
For a while, very happy. And then he's barely said anything for the last 2 days. And I've noticed he's not talking to her anymore.
Hmm. Well, if there was something going on, I would assume the source of his sadness must have been from her. She tends to have that effect.
Oh, does she?
I guess
Somebody's in trouble. Casey, you're totally
Hi,
listening to the
Casey.
recording right now.
I know you're listening. No, I don't say that. I wouldn't know otherwise. I was only saying to screw with you, Casey. I say I don't know. That is odd. I mean, if they were together, do you think maybe they were a couple? I mean, wouldn't they have been more open if they were a couple?
I'm not sure. So here's my plan. You talk to her, I'll talk to him, and we'll reconverge at some point and figure this out.
Okay, I will do
Thank you,
that.
Zane. She pats you on the cheek.
You're welcome.
You're such a good boy. And then she walks back into the kitchen.
You're like 3 years older than me.
That's what you think.
That's what he says. You're like 3 years older than me.
The door to the kitchen swings a few times as it closes behind you.
I'm gonna clean myself up.
Okay. And what are you going to be doing after that?
So I think first I will go to Mary's Mary the maid, which is I guess who's at Gilmore's, I guess, and get that information.
Okay. For the sake of time, you make your way back to the Cloud Top district to the Gilmore. The barrier does not drop for you. However, your dear, dear friend Galveston sorry, Josh is distracting me. Your dear friend Galvestad, who you've come to know oh so well in his judgy eyes, walks up to you and inquires as to your needs. You tell him you're there to meet the maid. He gives you a very hard time about that. But eventually he does allow her to come talk to you, although he's standing about 15 feet away with his eyes narrowed, not understanding why this strange lord is here to talk to them. Well, not strange lord, but anyway. She does deliver to you a small book in which it has Dugan's daily schedule. I'm not going to go over that in huge detail, but if at some point you want that information, it is available to you. Um, it also contains the name the names of all the staff.
Names of the staff who would be what's the word? Damn it.
So she has either smiley faces or, and you get the impression that she's probably not the most educated person. So she has either like smiley faces or frowny faces written by each of their names.
Okay. I also asked for like what shit.
You also asked for
That was
shit.
so
She
long
did
ago.
not provide that to you.
No. I also asked for. I can't remember. This feels like it was like months ago when I talked to her.
I believe that you asked for any information on his schedule. You asked for the name of the cook and whether or not they would be pliable to bribing.
Mm-hmm. And
Was there
and then something. Shit. I can't think of it. I didn't write it down either.
anyone else remember anything he asked?
Hmm.
Wanted his measurements. Design a
That's exactly what it was.
That sounds like something Zane would do.
So you also have Lord Degen's measurements. Um, I'm guessing it might have been something about like his allies or things like which
I'm looking.
she like guests and stuff like that. She really didn't have a lot of information on that. However, one thing that she does tell you when she hands over the book is that um, there's a lot of gossip surrounding his daughter and her baby.
Secrets heard. That's the one. Any secrets she of Dugan's that she may have heard. That's the one.
Well, there you go. I just gave that to you anyway.
That's the only secret.
That's the biggest one that came to her mind, that there's a lot of gossip around this daughter and her baby, that apparently at some point she was married to a young lord who had some kind of accident, but no one in the estate has been around long enough, which the baby's only a year old, to have met this young lord or know or understand exactly what happened to him or even who he was. It's one of those things that no one talks about.
Okay, so not really much more information about that other than it couldn't have been him.
Sorry, couldn't have been who?
It couldn't have been the guy who everyone thinks gave her the baby.
I don't understand what you mean by couldn't have been.
Shit. My brain is fucking not working.
I mean, they're saying that whoever it was that impregnated her, they have no proof that he existed or that she was actually married or that he died. Like no one knows anything about who this person was.
Okay, this okay, so nobody. So I guess the newest piece of information here is that nobody knows who this guy was, and that's it.
Nobody knows who he was, and there's a lot of gossip surrounding the origin of this child.
Okay. Did she provide that gossip?
Just that the servants talk about it all the time. They like to come up with theories on who the dad was and where he is today.
Okay. So for the 300 gold pieces that I have paid her, which by the way I pay her for all this information. I get a list of friendly servants under Dugent's schedule, and a small extra piece of secret that nobody knows who the person who fathered the child is.
Correct.
Okay.
She also gives you one little tidbit of information that there is a smokehouse out back that they use at his estate to smoke meats and stuff like that, and that there is a secret entryway into the estate through the smokehouse.
That's what I'm looking for. I pay her that 200 gold pieces gladly.
Okay. So, Charlene, did you have anything else on your list for today? Josh, wakey, wakey. It's
Yep.
not even 11.
No, that time it was I forgot that I muted myself. I said
Okay.
no.
I feel like that's our relationship. You're like 3 years older than me. That's what you think. Yeah, that kind of sums it up, doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay, so no, nothing for Charlene right now.
Yeah, nope.
Aramel, is there anything else on your list for today?
During the day, no.
You can't just say it like that and not give me a hint. Well, yes, you can. Okay. Zane, is there anything else on your list for today?
You know it. You know I'm always a busy bee.
Okay.
So let me go down this list real quick. I gotta take my finger off of the push to talk. I'm gonna check to see if my 3,000 gold piece transfer has gone through.
Okay. So you make your way to the bank. You're very kindly greeted at the door. The clerks at the bank have all kind of gotten used to your face by now. And they all actually speak to you by name. They call you Lord Blackthorn. And yes, indeed, Elbreth has sent your money to the bank.
Okay, so then I'm gonna have a conversation with Alabaster. Alabas.
Okay,
I'm forgetting his name now.
Alabaster.
Yep, I'm gonna ask to meet with him, and if he accepts, we'll have a conversation.
He does indeed. Let's do this mission style. So, oh God, that sounded really bad.
Mission
Missionary.
Impossible style.
Yes, let's do this
Missionary.
as if we are doing a mission. What is your goal?
So the goal is just a continuation of the conversation before. He basically told me he needed a large donation in order to make life difficult for Dugent and possibly maybe even give me some information or some information under the table. And so I'll be providing the 3,000 gold and see if that is adequate.
Okay. I want you to roll a persuasion check for me. And we're going to do this with advantage since you're sitting with a pile of gold in your lap. 19. Very nice. You are silver tongued today, Zane. Your conversation with him goes very well. He accepts your quote unquote donation. And he says, "Oops, it looks like Dugent's accounts have been temporarily frozen."
I give him I give him a grin, and I go, "Oh man, you should probably have someone take their time to look into that."
I am sensing a lot of lost paperwork, especially considering I hear that his estate just caught fire. I wonder if he'll even be able to provide the evidence to reopen his accounts.
How unfortunate.
It is indeed. Okay, and then what other information were you looking for?
Mainly stuff to do with his business dealings. Just like location so I remember it's textiles, right? He's in charge of textiles.
It is. He has a couple different farms. One is like a sheep farm that produces, and then he has Christy, no brain today. She has the dumb.
Don't don't don't
A
worry don't worry
cotton
about giving
farm.
me lists.
Okay.
I
It basically
basically
tells you the location of two different farms that are the main producers of the materials needed, and then there is like a textile factory that is at his estate outside of Amman, his home castle, and then everything is shipped in from there.
okay. So that's basically I want that in like writing. I just want the lists, and the lists of the things that gives them the most revenue, the lists of routes, of basically my goal is to destroy his fucking business and either take it over myself and have it become a Blackthorn kind of thing, or just completely demolish the textile and put someone else as head of that.
Okay, so he provides you with all of that information. I'm going to ask you to roll a history check to see if you remember one little tidbit of information.
Would this be one of those times I get advantage with my special thing?
It actually is related to the nobility of Amon, so yes.
Didn't need it.
Okay. No, you didn't. You do indeed remember one of your very first moments in Amon in the Alabaster Lyceum doing research on Degent, that his family had basically, you were looking for any and stop me if you remember all this. You were looking for anyone basically that might be an enemy of his, and you found out that basically Dugent had done exactly what you're intending to do to the Aaron family and ran them out of business.
That's right.
Just a little tidbit there. Okay.
Yep. Just a little bit. Maybe talk to Val Aaron, which I planned on going to next. I still need to punch that guy in the nose.
Okay. Is that where we're going then?
Yes, I thank Alabaster for his service, and just make sure to let him know that I'm that I'll be a lifelong customer, and walk out feeling pretty good.
So you walk out with another bottle of wine and some other goodies, some parchment stamped with the Bank of Amman, and a little grab, some swag.
I got me some swag, some shiggity swag.
And we'll try to make this quick as well. You make your way over to the Aaron estate.
And I look for Val Aaron.
Okay, everyone lets you in. It's as you're making your way up the stairs to his office that you're stopped by the lady who seems to kind of have control of the household for the most part, the one with the brown hair, graying temples, and ponytail. Um, she kind of gives you a quick bow. Um, Lord Blackthorn.
Yes, yes. I'm here to speak to Valerian. Is Valerian, is he in?
My lord has taken her on a rather nocturnal schedule due to the strange companion that he's. I believe that he is asleep right now.
So if I were to wake him, he'd be groggy and not on his game.
She looks very confused.
It's just a inside joke between us. Has he specifically said no one to bother him?
Well, not specifically. I know you're a very good friend. If it's important, by all means.
I will.
Otherwise, if it's not, maybe wait till this evening.
I'll wake him now. It is kind of important. You know, every time I'm here, I always forget to get your name. I don't know what your name is.
My name is Anna.
Anna. Thank you, Anna.
Okay. It's gonna be so awkward.
Hope you're ready for this. I mean, we can skip some things if you want. I mean, we you can just have me just like crack him across the jaw and
Oh no, we're actually gonna role play this. Someone has an open mic though.
Probably. Sound coming through it?
Just rustling.
Oops. Yeah, sorry, that was me.
Okay, take it away, Zane. Oh my god.
the moment he opens the door, I'm gonna clock him right across, right in the nose, hard as I can.
Are you sure about that?
Was he sure about punching me? If he wants to fight back, we're gonna fight back, but he knows it's coming.
So you're swinging as the door's opening?
No, the door's gonna open. He's gonna notice me, and before he can even like say my name, I'm just gonna pop him in the nose.
Okay, so you are gonna make sure that it is who you think it is opening the door.
Yeah, yeah. I'm assuming it's gonna be him, but like, wow, like the door. If the door isn't fully open, how am I gonna get a good shot at him?
Okay, just making sure.
I'd just be punching the door.
I'm just giving you,
Yep.
okay, hang on
We, we,
one
we,
second.
we are being specific. Making sure I don't punch maybe Lysander if he's opening the door for some reason.
Like that would matter. You probably wouldn't even like, haha, such a puny attack.
He'd probably be like, I deserve it.
Oh no, that's worse.
Oh my god, you nailed that on the head. That's so funny.
I hope Valerian thinks I deserve this. You're gonna make me roll an unarmed attack, aren't you?
The door opens after your rather loud knock, and yes, you need to roll an unarmed attack. It's only fair because I made him roll one for you. And let me
Okay.
pull up his character sheet.
Might I say, with his grogginess and the surprise of it, that I would have advantage?
Yes, I will give it to you. You're asking so much of me tonight.
I know. Thank you very much.
He does,
Hope.
however, have an armor class. Let's see, he would not actually be wearing his armor. So flat footed, he is 15.
That's pretty good. He's a big guy. So I never use unarmed, so I don't have unarmed set up. Is it just roll strength or
Ask
or
Pasta.
yeah? Is there more to it?
It's complicated. Roll. I would say roll strength and add your efficiency bonus. As Arata put in unarmed strikes as a weapon.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, so the door creaks open. He actually doesn't open it all the way, and you immediately get the gist as to why, because there's sunlight streaming in through the hall. So it's not as open of an attack as you would have liked it to have been. But he's standing there basically in his undershorts, his hair a mess, kind of rubbing his eyes.
Okay.
And he only has a second to glance at you as you
Add 3 to this. Really? I love it. So I whiff it.
So you swing wide. You're expecting him. You see him start to open the door, and you're expecting the door to continue to open, but he actually just kind of cracks it and looks. And you swing wide and hit the door, and there's kind of this crack. And he's so confused for a moment by what's happening that I'm going to give you one more chance to take a second attack. Actually, how many you have 2 attacks anyway, don't you?
I do. I'll take that second one. Jesus Christ. Really? A 6 and an 8? You kidding me? Okay, that's 17. I'm not trying to like damage him. I'm just trying to hit him in the face hard.
Okay, where do you want to hit him in the face?
Right in the nose. Like I want to break his nose so that I can fix it.
Just like he did to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after your first fumbled swing, you're having that momentary, I won't say panic because I don't think Zane's typed panic, but you're like, really? This is my moment.
It's probably just like
that
a quick 2 jabs or something. Yeah, like one hits the wall, the door, fuck, and then I hit him in the nose.
And all of that aggression just kind of builds behind the swing. You feel like the muscles in the back of your shoulder start tingling as you make that second swing, and it connects square in the middle of his nose. You hear a loud crack, and blood goes everywhere, including all over your fist. And he kind of staggers back a couple steps, and he's about to say something, but it comes out as kind of a sputter because blood is rushing down into his mouth.
Zane says, "Whew, that felt good. That's for letting gossip, trying to fucking just ruin things with gossip."
He's holding his nose and trying to contain the flow of. He glances over his shoulder immediately. Josh.
Right? He totally just I just knock him the fuck out.
He glances over his shoulder, and you get kind of a clear view of Lysander laying on his bed, and Lysander is just starting to kind of stir at the noise. He gets a little bit of a panic, not Lysander, Vale gets a little bit of a panicked look in his eyes, looks back at you, gives you kind of a death glare, and very quickly takes a couple steps forward, shoves you through the door, out back into the hall, and then pulls the door shut behind the 2 of you. What the fuck, Blackthorn?
What the fuck indeed, Aaron?
He's wiping blood off his face, and
You didn't say to You didn't think to maybe come to me first before going to Mina? Maybe verifying the gossip? Me
You
getting
didn't think to
being betrothed.
not be tramping around town with another one. You
You
didn't
have
think
no
about
idea.
that?
You have no idea what's going on with me behind the scenes, tramping around with another woman. What
No, I
kind of
don't,
bullshit
but
is
maybe
this?
if you actually came and talked to me about it.
Why would I need to talk to you about it? It's my business.
That I'm invested in now.
You are invested in it now. Yes. If you would have came to me, I would have told you that the Lenore family was trying to get me to marry their daughter. And I don't
And
I
you're
have no
stupid
plans on
enough
doing it.
to give validity to those rumors by, ugh.
I have no plans to do it. But she's very powerful. I don't feel like making a new enemy just yet.
Zane, you also have to realize that everything that you do now affects Mina.
I understand this. I understand that everybody who I have befriended and everybody that I care about is affected by my decisions. I understand this. But man, like thought we were closer than just you giving into gossip and talking to Mina about it. I would have set you straight. I would have told you the truth. How you can easily tell if I'm telling the truth or lying. Look at me right now and tell me that I'm lying to you.
Are
Here,
you?
I'm gonna heal his face real quick. I'm gonna use a couple things to fix his broken nose. That's only because you knocked me in the face. You totally deserve it.
So are you using laying hands on him?
Yeah,
He is surprised as all get out when you do.
it's that
So
surprise look on
so
your face.
so surprised that like the conversation halts and he's looking at you in confusion.
Oh, oh, me being able to heal?
Are
It's a
you
gift from
suddenly?
it's a gift from Lysander. I can only heal others. I can't heal myself.
He looks kind of flabbergasted and thoughtful. I didn't know he was capable of something like that. Guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of trauma that I had to go through to get it, though, he showed me a lot, and it was pretty tough. But anyway, I digress. Look at me right now. Use whatever power you use to tell lies and ask me whatever you want.
He gives a really big sigh. Just fucking tell me that you're not playing with her feelings.
I'll go one more than that. I love her.
You feel kind of the weight of that strange weight that you always feel when he has that vision. And are you telling the truth? I should assume.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're telling the truth, and you know that he knows you're telling the truth. You see him wince a little bit. Okay. Okay, well, I guess it's your business now. It's not mine.
I understand you care, man, and I understand where your head was at. If you hear any more rumors about me, man, please speak to me. because I am. If I heard any rumors about you, which I think I've heard a few, I haven't believed any of them. I would talk to you about it. I would ask you if it were true. I wouldn't try to go behind your back and do anything about it.
He crosses his arms across his bloody chest and kind of glances at the door, more of an avoidance than anything. I warned you, I'm really bad at this friend thing.
Well, you know what? I value your friendship and I value you as a friend and as an ally. I'll keep working on you. I'm not gonna give up on you. And I would expect the same from you.
Okay, that's fair. Just one thing. When I said no drama, this, and he points at his nose, counts as drama.
It's drama that you brought on yourself, though. Tell me you didn't deserve that. Truthfully.
I deserved it. I did. He didn't. And he points at the door.
Well, you would have been able to dodge right out of the way. I can apologize to him. I can tell him what just happened.
I'll take care of it.
All right. We're cool?
Yeah, we're cool.
Good.
By the way, ow.
Did I hit you too hard? Wasn't trying to hurt you. You actually bled more than I wanted you to.
Just next time, pull back a little. He chuckles back at you. As long as you're here, there's one thing we should talk about. Actually, two things.
Okay.
Well, maybe one thing. Let me think on the second one a little bit.
Okay.
Our friend. I'm doing everything I can. But it's going to get to the point where what I'm giving him isn't enough.
Okay.
We need to come up with something, someone we trust, someone who's willing, at least maybe 1 out of every 3 days. Think about it and get back to me.
Okay.
And looking him over, you well notice, especially in his undressed state, that he's looking pretty rough.
And I'm gonna mention that. It's like, yeah. I mean, I wish you hadn't cracked the door, because if you would have opened it all the way, I probably would have pulled that punch. You look horrible.
It's actually not as bad as you think it is. But I guess my body just doesn't replenish blood enough or quickly enough.
Isn't what you are, don't they have like regenerative abilities?
I think that's the only reason I'm managing to do what I do already.
I see.
And I'm fucking hungry all the time.
Well, make sure to feed. I hope you're feeding yourself. You're a big guy. You should already be eating a lot.
He gives a sigh and looks around. You can tell he's thinking about the money that it costs.
There was a secondary reason though that I wanted to come here. One was to punch you in the face and figure our friendship out. That's been solved. The second is I'm going after Degent. I'm going after him hard. I'm going after him in everything. And I'll be getting my revenge here soon. And one of the stages of me ruining him is is destroying his business. And I understand that your family used to be the leaders in textile before Dugent ran your family out. I'd like to hear more about that.
As you continue this speech that you're giving him, he starts to look really concerned.
Are you concerned about me getting revenge?
No, the bastard deserves it. There's no doubt about that. My concern is your reputation. With what you told me the other day, and you know what he's talking about, the secret that you revealed to him.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that you remain untarnished. The city one day is going to need a leader, and it's not going to accept one that gets petty revenge upon his enemies. I highly suggest you think very deeply about what you're doing before you make your move.
We are on the same thought on that. I have been starting to surround myself with people who can do the more harsher things that I won't be able to do.
I'm not one of those people, Zane, but
I'm not asking you to be that person. I'm just asking about what happened with your family. I want to hear. I want to hear the story of what Dugent did to your family, and I'd like to do it to him. Maybe even give textiles back to you. I don't know if that's even something that you're interested in. Sounds like you're more interested in the city, but it would also give you revenue to be able to give back to the city.
he looks a little bit uncomfortable. It's an expression that you haven't seen on him before. He's usually just kind of there and your face doesn't care really how you're taking him, but he's looking a little bit awkward right now.
What's wrong, my friend?
Just haven't thought about them in a long time. Tell you what, let me get back to you on that.
Okay. Don't take your time on it. I would like to move on my plans as soon as possible.
I understand. I need to. And he points at the door.
Okay. And make sure to let me know the other thing that you wanted to tell me when you've made the decision to tell me.
Right. Let's plan on talking tonight. Can you get back to me then about the other thing?
I can talk to the others, ask them about it. Certainly. I can get back to you tonight.
He gives you a nod and reaches out to shake your hand.
I shake it.
No more punches.
I'll agree to it if you agree to it.
He looks up at the ceiling. Nah, you know what? Never mind. Fuck it. And goes back in the room and shuts the door behind.
I chuckle as he walks and I say, "Sleep well."
Out of character, I love how easy it is for guys. Girls would have to have this long, heartfelt conversation. And guys are just like, yeah, okay, we're good.
Just gotta punch him first.
Well, especially with Valerian, that's how you get through to him.
Okay. Are you returning? I think that's quite a bit for today.
Yeah. I think that's all. That's really all I wanted to do. All right. So I'm going to use that information from Mary to find out about his marriage, to find out about the secrets that the secret of the brother-in-law who possibly never existed or something. Learn more about his estate and his business. The only thing now is to just destroy his business, then destroy his reputation, then destroy his health, his marriage. Yeah. I'm well on my way.
You're fuming with destruction. Okay, so you make your way back to the llama.
Real quick. Do I have enough time to stop by the library and try to stop by the library and look up the myriad?
Yes, you absolutely can. Go ahead and make a investigation check. This is not noble related.
Son of a bitch.
I'm not even going to bother to move maps.
Yep. So
Yeah. You
I
spend a
go.
little time klutzing around the library, dropping books, making noise, and you're very frustrated in your attempt. Do not find any information on anything called the myriad.
Okay. I will fast forward things now.
Okay, so let's say that it is maybe 5 in the evening. Everything has picked up at the llama. You guys are all meeting for dinner. Minxie has made fried fish and fried potatoes. It's a very popular dinner. There's a lot of people there, and Marcus is making quite a bit of money off of his evening performance, which is a very interesting performance, considering it's a topic that's been on your minds recently, particularly the minds of Kamara and Charlotte. He sings a song, and these are the lyrics. I'll give you a moment to read them. I'm not going to sing it.
A demon wakens with the night, reviling something bright. Friends and virtue.
It's much darker than that. Sorry. Good try.
A demon wakens with the night, reviling sun and all things bright.
That sounded deeper, not darker.
Virtue's foe. Darkness comes where the Kingslayer goes.
If you guys want to grab a drink or run to the restroom real quick while everyone reads through this, then you're welcome to do that. Be back by 11:04 because I do not comply with 5-minute
Did you see what Josh just put?
Yes, I absolutely did.
That's awesome. This motherfucker's a Kingslayer.
I mean, everyone knows who the Kingslayer is. Obvious.
Yes, it's the cat.
Oh no, the real cat.
What did we name the cat again? I can't remember. Mr. What? Mr. Tom.
Yeah.
Mr. Tom the Tomcat. The mangy Tomcat.
Okay, so I'm going to cast Speak with Animals, and if this bard can't speak to me, we know that he's the real king.
Wait, you're
That's
gonna
how
cast
it works,
speak with
right?
animals to make sure that he's not an animal? What?
No,
Oh no,
would,
I get what you mean
yeah,
because the dog, yeah.
yeah. I'm just gonna do that every time I think someone might secretly be a bad guy. I'm just gonna cast Speak with Animals. That's how I figure it out, right?
Apparently.
That would have worked in the past. Certainly
That
should
is
work in the
Charlene
future.
logic. Okay, has everyone had a chance to glance at Marcus's dark and broody song?
Not
Yes.
really. A little bit longer.
It didn't quite make it into the letters tab if that was your.
I know, I'm having trouble moving things around.
Eyes darker than midnight.
It's supposed to be under the stories tab, but for some reason I can't indent.
Can you sing like the first two lines so that I know how it's supposed to be sung?
No, I can't.
Maybe the first line?
Especially since it's an actual poem that I stole and edited a little bit, and it's not an actual.
Ah, come on.
It is your job to role play, not mine.
I think it's the opposite. It's the DM's job to
I will not. I will set my standards at not slaying your eardrums tonight. Especially since we have someone here who actually knows how to carry a tune, or at least I don't know if he can carry a tune, but I know he at least knows music, and I will completely embarrass myself.
So the person who knows music, sing this.
Why?
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Give me. What? How do you imagine the melody? Is it slow, languorous, or upbeat?
I'll tell you what. Next session, he's going to sing this again, and Brett, you are going to roleplay Marcus. So you have between now and 2 weeks from now, when I come back from my vacation, to figure out the tune for this. Since you are so desperate to hear it, it is now your homework.
Oh, you're giving me more homework. You're piling more homework on my schedule.
Did the song? Does it go something like "There's one-eyed one flying purple"? Is that how it goes?
Demon
Let me see if that
awakens
works.
with the
A
night.
demon awakens with a night, reviling the sun and all things bright.
Okay, we have it. That is it. It is canon.
No, please don't make
Evil
that
friend and
canon.
virtues, fo.
We could set it to the tune of the Phantom of the Opera if you'd like, Pasta.
Demon awakens with the night.
No! Why are you doing this to
The sun
me?
and darkness bright.
Sorry.
I love you, Josh.
Evil's friend and virtue's foe. Darkness comes where the king's slaves go.
Oh, dudes, it was just a poem, and we just spent 15 minutes on it.
Please, if there is some deity trolling fate, please make this stop. Just cut the power to my computer.
The Phantom is the first thing that I learned how to play in the bassoon.
Really?
Yep.
So Pasta, do you not you don't like the song?
I
Is that
mean,
what?
it almost fits with shoot, which is the Phantom of the Opera song, the something of music. It's da 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 da.
Yeah.
I like that one.
It almost fits. It's like 2 syllables off, and it makes me really sad.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what? It is 2 syllables off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fishing reel. Fishing reel.
Okay, you're right. You're right. This is an exact 5-minute break. Oh no, we went too long.
Oh no!
Wait, it's 6 minutes now. We're good. We're good.
Oh, it's ruined my intervals. Okay, so
Let
you're all sitting down.
Can I add a prelude
What?
first? A
A
prelude?
prelude to the song?
No, to the dinner.
Yes, you may add a prelude to our dinner. It is a very fancy preluded dinner.
Aramil goes back into the llama, drenching wet, his clothes wet. He looks a little out of sorts and he goes straight up to the attic. If people are checking on him, you can see him trying to meditate and sort of shifting.
Okay, so when you make your way to the attic, I don't know if you were there when Minxie told the party that part of the attic had caved during the earthquake. So you get up there and you're able to get maybe 5 feet into this attic when you realize that it's a mess.
Well, he's gonna open his copy of A Rollo in the Sheets and glance through it really fast and look sort of worried and then throw the book back up there and go meditate in the men's bedroom.
No, you're totally on the toilet.
He's on the toilet on his phone thinking about things.
Cross-legged, going,
And when he goes down to dinner, he looks not calm like he usually does. He sort of looks blank.
Okay, so the group of you convene for dinner. Aramil, as you come down the stairs, Minxie rushes over to you with a big packet of what looks like rolled paper in her hands. And she has a big grin on her face. Hey, Aramil, this came for you. And she hands it over to you. It's kind of an awkward bundle.
He sort of looks past her for about 10 seconds and then grabs the paper.
She snaps her fingers in your face.
Well, excuse me. Yes. What is it?
This package, it came for you. Try to look a little bit happy.
Oh.
I wish someone would send me one of these.
He musters up a crooked, very crooked, and then he sighs and says, "That doesn't come unnaturally. Sorry. I didn't mean to ruin the mood,
Aww.
Minxie."
She pinches your cheek. It's okay. And then she rushes off because someone's calling her to order more food.
He'll take a look at the package and inspect it closely.
So you pull aside some of the paper and you realize that in this rolled up paper, or blah, blah, in this rolled up paper, we're going to try that again, is a dozen red roses and a bottle of wine. And the note says, thought you might like to have a full bottle this time.
It's like he can read my mind. But instead of drinking it, he just puts it to the side and joins everyone a little hungover.
Go ahead, everyone make an insight check, please. Are you trying to be deceptive at all?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Are you trying to hide it? Okay, go ahead and make a deception check.
He's not very good at it.
Okay, describe to the party exactly how they're seeing you. Tell them what's off.
Yeah, sort of like what I said before. Normally, expression is calm, but in this case it looks more neutral, and he's not walking quite. He would normally carry himself with great posture. At this point, it almost looks like he's crooked. He's not like thing, but something feels off with the way he carries himself.
And that's what you guys see.
Okay. Charlene, you wanna take this? You gonna react?
No, I think that Charlene is kind of at this point just like with all of you having something that she's like, I'm gonna have to talk to you about this alone later. And not actually bringing it up until she's alone with you. Like, she still needs to talk to you about someone in your family dying from the dragon attack.
You also notice as he walks over the table, he kind of nonchalantly sets a paper wrapped bundle down on the table, like completely forgetting that it's there as he kind of slumps into his. And you guys can easily see what it is.
So Zane is gonna be subtle when he sees him, and he says, "Aaron Miller, you all right? Is everything okay?"
Yes, everything is fine. Nothing is wrong.
So the way you're saying that tells me the opposite.
Everything's great. Today went very well. He like holds his head.
Do you want to talk about it?
I guess discussing it could be better. In fact, what else could help you overcome trials of spirit than your?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's what we're for.
He'll look between. Before I ask you, what do you think of Gilmore?
Uh, he's uh, he's eccentric.
Seems pretty cool.
He seems like he makes for a very good ally. He's friends with Mina, so that must mean he's a good friend.
Aramilla, he lets out a sigh, which is very unusual. His sighs are usually, if anything, because taking a breath or parsing information. This time he sounds exacerbated, annoyed about something. Earlier today, go meet with him, said a phrase that I didn't know what it meant. It was, Irma looks at her. When I was cleaning myself off, he said he was enjoying the view.
Oh,
I
oh.
checked what that meant. I had a suspicious feeling after I'd met with him what it meant, but I confirmed my research and some of the literature that Mina shared with me. And apparently it means that he was admiring my physique in a sexual manner.
Um, I'm sorry to break it to you, Aramil, but Gilmore has had the hots for you ever since he saw you.
Aramil looks shocked. Like, what?
He has been not hiding it.
I kind of feel like Mina figured that you were going to be his type ever since she met you.
What?
I
He's
think
like, he sort of shakes a little in his chair, and then he quickly takes some deep breaths and says, well, that's startling. Today is quite the day.
I didn't realize that until we met Gilmore, but the way she spoke to everyone there, it kind of made me figure she probably thought this for a while. She was probably like, oh, my two besties, let's make them more than besties with each other.
so. I'm noticing this is bothering you. Is there a reason why you're so distraught?
Well, yes. Everything from the dance instruction that was actually very informative to wanting to help. I just assumed that he was doing this because that was his will. If he truly does see me that way, wouldn't I then be what's the expression? Holding him by the leash? Oh, that's not it. Tying him up? No, that's not it. Leading him on.
Oh my god.
It would only be well. I mean, I haven't lived very long on this earth, and really relationships are tough for me. But I mean, from what I've read, uh, it would seem. I mean, you would only be leading him on if you didn't have the same feelings for him. Do you not have the same feelings for him?
Why would I? What am I supposed to do to have feelings?
I have no idea.
Aramil sighs. Feelings like that come after many, many encounters, sometimes maybe even years of spending time together and getting to know and understand the other person.
I,
Yeah.
I
He
wouldn't say
he
that.
he thumbs something in his pocket. Anything it can be accelerated of course, but not instantaneously. Something about that feels disingenuous.
Um, so Zane and Charlene, roll another insight check for me. Actually, make it a perception check. Um, Charlene, you notice that while he's saying this, um, he's basically giving you a tell. There's something going on, something that he's fingering in his pocket. That's he doesn't even realize he's.
So, Irma, what you got in there? And she like nods with her head.
Aramil looks at her pocket. Well, I do happen, or not pocket, I guess it would be his bag. Well, I have my bedroll, I have some torches, a tinderbox, I have a lot of stuff. And
Are you fondling your bedroll?
oh, no, here, let me show you. He reaches back into his uh, rucksack type contraption and pulls out a black pouch, sets it on the table and opens it up and holds out this very smooth pearl. If you look at it, it's actually a perfect pearl. There's absolutely no scratches or marks on it, and it's completely perfectly.
Wow, that is beautiful. Did you find that somewhere?
It was a gift by my old training partner, but sea elves for aquatic elves. I don't know if you would share this, Charlene. Aquatic elf clan that I trained under. Finding a perfect pearl and giving it to someone was a sign of your affection towards them. A sort of proposal on to spend a good portion of your life.
Oh,
So she proposed to you?
Sort of proposal. I guess if I had to compare it to a human proposal with, I guess you use rings or jewelry, it would be somewhere between there and casually asking someone. It's like a very serious commitment to spend time with someone and be dedicated. But
and
it's actually, a metaphor because it's difficult to find the pearl. They're not very common, so you have to spend days, weeks, sometimes a month if you're unlucky looking for it. It represents the type of time and commitment that type of relationship would take.
And you rejected this proposal?
Well, unfortunately, she didn't find it before I left tribe. And it didn't seem like she was giving it exactly the traditional way. Just wanted to make sure I knew what it meant.
Okay.
That is really unfortunate though. One day too late before I left. I could have stayed there and not even returned home.
There's a lot of what ifs.
That is true, and nature set us down this path.
if she did give it to you in that way, do do you think that you would feel something like that for her?
It's possible if I hadn't already been focused on finding the clansmen, my fellow clansmen, and that sounds wrong. My fellow uh, clan members, and
Clan just doesn't ever sound right.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay, my village,
yes.
and uh, helping the city. If I weren't occupied on that for uh, past few months, it's possible. But I promised to meet up with her again once everything settled down. Evaluate it. I think we both could use some time to think it through. So I guess the answer is maybe. But
Okay.
it's certainly nothing, uh, nothing like how I feel towards Gilmore. Something so whimsical, so sudden, so gaudy. It's not me.
Well, it sounds like you've got to let him know if you don't want to lead him on.
He sighs. But such good friends with Mina.
Well, it doesn't mean you two can't be friends. It just means that you're not interested in that kind of relationship with him.
Yeah.
And he seems like I mean, he's very eccentric and he's very uh, straightforward and forceful, but I'm sure he would understand.
But Aramil stays quiet for a second, unsure about what to do. You guys can roll an insight check if you want, as he's struggling with himself.
Yeah.
You guys are just so absolutely reading Aramil for the first time ever. It's like you're seeing him.
It looks like he's struggling to tell you something, but doesn't know how he wants to.
Zane, if Aramel, if you, I was about to say Zane says, but I was about to. Aramel, if if you want to tell us something, just tell us straight out. We we're allies, we're friends. Tell us.
Aramil takes a deep breath and says, from what I've gathered, I think that Lysander feels that way about me too.
Zane kind of has a quizzical expression on his face. Really?
And what do you think of that?
You know, certainly feels different than the way I feel about Gilmore. I'm honestly not sure after all the time.
Wow. Being loved by a demigod angel, that's heavy.
And suddenly realize, you suddenly realize that it certainly weighs on you. No, I think I may actually have to thank Gilmore for making it painfully obvious for both of them.
Well, the more aware you become of these things, the more aware you become of other things. just how people act. It's helpful to find out when somebody's lying to you.
Lying? People do that? Looks between. Aramil will laugh too. Sorry.
Yes, people.
Either way, I don't know if it's because of what rumors that we heard about Vale Aaron, because of how Lysander feels about me, but something about him staying with Vale Aaron for too long. Comfortable.
Well, speaking of Val Aaron, I actually paid him a rather interesting visit earlier today.
Yeah.
We had a conversation. I think I think everything's going to be all good between us. But he asked, um, uh, he needs to find people to help share the burden with him. I'm forgetting the time frame that he wants, but um, uh,
It was every third day.
every third day. He's hoping that he can maybe have others share the burden every third day, so that he can kind of get back on his feet and build his strength. And he asked me to talk to both of you to see if any of you would be interested.
The burden. You mean blood?
That's what I took from it. Yes.
Aramil size.
If it's not a day that we're in, yes, definitely, of course.
Well, I'll be meeting with him actually in a few hours.
Maybe that's a meeting that we should all go to.
That sounds like a good idea. Anyway, you want to talk about anything, Charlene? As long as we're all talking in private.
In the tavern, of course.
Well, we
No
went
one's
to
paying attention to you. Marcus is amazing, and everyone is focused on him.
I could have sworn someone
It's true.
mentioned us being pulled into a side room, but if we're out in the open, that's fine.
It's alright. It's a special side room where you want the really juicy plot stuff, but don't feel like narrating moving. The meta side room.
See, you guys are in this little corner booth right back here, and everyone else is like all the way over here watching Marcus perform.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So yeah, while we're asking each other about things we noticed and things like that, I don't know how to bring this up, but you're a noble from around here, right?
You could say that. I never. My family used to be a part of Amon. Yes.
When I mentioned the king being killed by a dragon, you reacted to that. Was your family also killed by the dragon attack? I didn't even think of that. I'm sorry.
Oh, um, well, hmm. Well, yes, yes. Yeah, I had my father died in the dragon attack. And if you want to do an insight, you can. You can. He's trying to hide something.
Okay.
I love how we're jamming our conversations.
You're not hiding
I
anything.
love it.
I think it's our turn to. It looks like you want to tell us.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not that he wants to tell you something. It's that he is withholding information.
Mm. But very obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with how I was role playing it.
Charlene, if you would like to make an intelligence check, please do so now. I'm going to make it a DC 16
Okay, that's
to
fair.
put this together. No, you can tell that there's something that's just not quite right, but it kind of is on the edge of your mind and you just can't.
So what do you guys say to me? Airmel's just learned about insight. You're not going to have him roll an insight check?
Should I?
You just learned about it, yeah.
He didn't just learn about insight.
But you
Maybe
Still, it beats yours.
yeah.
Well, that's actually perfect because after our conversation, it's like immediate that you can notice things now. It's perfect.
And like him, usual self, he can't piece together the clues.
Zane, what seems like it might be very obvious to you, they're just not getting it. And you're very grateful for that.
This is so funny. How are you two? What are you two saying to me?
So right now, Charlene, it's like, okay, you're holding something back, but she doesn't know if she wants to bring it up because she's like, well, you're intentionally trying not to say something, so maybe I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah, Aramil doesn't care.
But yeah, and she's gonna end up going, okay, yeah, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm here for you. I'm here to listen. It it must have been a lot.
Hey, Charlene, I have one question for you about interactions with Lysander.
Yeah.
Did you ever look at him really closely and all of a sudden notice certain features that you never saw before? Almost like his face compels you to look even further at him.
Um, in that he's really pretty, or
Something like Aramil.
do you think that it? I think that you might be developing feelings for him in the way we were talking about before.
Or sometimes like You look at him and you feel like if he told you to do something, no matter what it was, you'd do it.
Is my knowledge of vampires very extensive? Would I be able to provide insight into this conversation?
I would say that you've done a little bit of research on into vampires, but not to that extent. I mean, you did fight one, but he didn't attempt to charm any of you guys. What I can tell you is that none of you have not been affected by the kind of allure that surrounds Lysander.
Hmm.
You have all felt it, but maybe not to the degree where like that not to the degree that Aramil is describing it.
Yeah, I've noticed it too, but it hasn't been very like I haven't really felt like I would do anything that he says.
I
But
figure
wasn't there a
right
time when he specifically asked you to calm down or stop and stopped?
now that doesn't happen to me. No, not at all.
Out of character,
Mm.
I distinctly remember him accidentally commanding someone to do something.
Yeah, it was everyone but me because of his boon to me. It doesn't work on me.
And I wasn't there, so that's why. I just felt the aura. Like he had a really strong aura then, like a magical presence.
Hmm.
Like you could feel something, but I guess he didn't realize it as well. But he's asking you guys.
Yeah.
Says, I definitely feel strongly about him, but very hard to understand exactly what it is, especially since he didn't tell me what's. In fact, even the feelings that he has, even though we have a link between our minds, keeps it very well hidden for them.
And this is the first that you guys have heard about this link. I mean, you all know that Aramil has been able to reach out to him, which maybe you haven't questioned until now, but this is something that you weren't really conscious of.
When I saw Lysander in person, definitely looked healthier, stronger, but he was. It felt like he was in more turmoil, brushed up against his mind.
And I'm going to pause you right there because this is also something that comes as a kind of major shock to the both of you. He's been in your minds, but you've never felt anything from him that he didn't want you to feel. So that's a big shocker to you two too.
Like you've been in his mind?
Yeah, when he connects with you, using powers, you get to see into his soul a little.
And
No.
again,
Mm.
yes, that is not how it works for you guys.
Yeah,
That might be
no,
weird.
that's
Aramil looks surprised. He sort of knew that there was some things that he wasn't sharing between everyone, but didn't realize that their experiences were so vastly different.
When he went into my mind, he showed me things that humbled me. It was devastating and yet enlightening. Felt a weight off my shoulders.
when he went into my mind. He showed me things that I didn't even remember, people that I didn't know existed.
Yeah,
Aramil,
Aramil, you're really realizing now that, like you said, this is vastly different than your experience.
What did
So I
he
wonder
tell
if he
you?
shared something differently with.
It would seem that way,
You do
especially
know
if you.
that he and I are connected from my youth. He's actually been observing my people. You heard that, right? Or was it just Charlene who was? It may have just been
I,
Charlene and Kamara who were.
yeah, I don't think Zane would have been a part of that conversation. So telling him
Yeah.
that he goes, "You're linked to Lysander."
In a way, the I guess the good part of the link is he's been observing our village hidden in something in it caught his interest. Bad part of that is that same village was used to trick him and pull him down from his heavenly realm, turn immortal.
Really, this is all news to me.
I guess some of us had secrets we didn't, but now I'm asking you for advice, and because I want you to help me, I'm trying to be as open as I can.
Well, my advice is next time you talk to him about it.
And what exactly should I tell? Sometimes I think about him a lot.
Tell him the truth. Tell him whatever comes to you in the moment.
But I don't intentionally. You're saying I should tell him everything that's on my mind. My mind doesn't
I'm
work like that usually.
I'm suggesting you tell him what's on your mind in the moment that you're talking to him.
Aramil gives him a look. You have to be more. I am really sorry, but usually my mind is focused and very clear on one thing that I'm trying to
Charlene,
accomplish.
can you? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I
I mean,
actually do not understand what you're trying to say. That's why I'm asking you to clarify it.
did I say Aramel or?
Good, Aramil. Oh, you didn't say anyone yet. Were you asking Charlene?
Yeah, I was asking. Yeah.
For a second there, I thought that was actually Brett asking, pasta.
Oh
Pasta.
no, I just switched up names. So he turned to Charlene. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Emily, I think he's just saying when it comes to your feelings about Lysander, you should let him know.
Exactly.
But I have been letting him know.
Well, you've been withholding the fact that do you have feelings for him, like romantic feelings for him?
I feel very strongly about him, but whether it's specifically romance or I myself am having trouble under. It's hard to tell from one person alone. For me, it's
Hmm.
this mutual interaction that really makes me want to commit to that. And as long as he doesn't open up to me, I can never be sure that I'm attached to him in that way. As opposed to wanting to protect him or feeling a more friend or familiar bond.
Well,
Maybe
then
it's
maybe you just need to give Lysander more time until he is better.
what if he doesn't have that time?
What do you mean? Why wouldn't he have that time?
Aramil takes a moment, realizes he's going to be sharing something very personal about Lysander, but he needs advice. Now, this is in the realm of feelings and supernaturals. I could be wildly inaccurate, but in his mortal self, you already know that you can sense both his his current state and his heritage pressed into one mortal being.
Yeah.
No,
You know,
But-
like
no.
but
We-
go on.
like when you saw both good and evil inside of him. When
Oh,
we
I
first
wasn't there
recovered
when
him.
I
Were you?
wasn't there when you did that. I came.
Oh, you were right after, weren't you?
Yeah.
The first time I actually saw Lysander was when he was probing my mind. I guess I saw glimpses of him in the bed, but I never went in there.
Well, Charlene will confirm then. His existence is superposition of these two. But inside of his mind, they're crammed together, one power competing with the other. And for some reason, I don't know if it's because of Lysander's own fear of what's happening or because of some other dark magic, it feels like the darker side of him becomes more prominent, more he feeds on people. And I'm concerned that, based off of when I managed to just interact with him a little bit, that darkness might be growing in him, taken care of. And I can't stop thinking about him until I know that he's okay. I want to leave him and let him do what he needs to do. I understand that I may feel bad, but as long as it's health and his well-being, that it could be good to just let it go and not mention. I definitely don't want to control him just because I see some side of him other people can't. But at the same time, I can't deny my
Okay. Well, when we speak to Valerian, I think we should have a conversation about that. Valerian, his abilities allow him to do something similar to what you do. He can see and feel things that others can't. If we have a conversation with him about it, I think we might be able to find maybe an alternate way of helping him besides him feeding the way he is. But
Well, either way, talking with Valerian would be.
Is there like a cure for vampirism? I mean, I assumed it was just a disease that you just got in. You're like, oh well, you're done.
Well, based off of what we found about the condition before, killing the Lord sort of undoes the curse, but usually by destroying all of the. There's no way to safely revert vampirism, but it's not that well researched for something like a stronger type of vampire that one might call a lord. If there were more research, or potentially we could get more research at it, I'd feel more at ease. But not only is his situation unique, it seems that in general, vampire lords reverting is not even her. We couldn't find a single case of it.
So, Christy.
If that is indeed what he is.
Okay. Disregard.
How are you doing, Christy?
I'm happy right now. Very happy. Just keep talking.
So I think after talking with you all, I think I realized what we should do. I think we should talk with Dale Aaron and potentially Lysander himself about these. That way, if they're unfounded, they can confirm it with each other, and they can continue living together peacefully. If something is wrong, we can help them. And I think voicing our concerns is a reasonable thing to do, even if they don't feel it.
I would say so, and I think we should have this conversation with Lysander in the room.
He will be very uncomfortable. I think for his sake, he'll have to sit through it.
Especially being able to talk, ask him about it. He
Yes,
doesn't
and
want to talk about it.
a lot of the literature that I've read said that after something like this, you may need to bring rope. But now I'm starting to doubt the validity of these novels that Mina. Not from experience, but from recent activities.
A rope to tie him to a chair.
Here, let me show you with a diagram. Aramil smiles and pulls out a sheet of paper.
I'd like to think that Aramil is looking for any opportunity to draw a diagram of what he's learned, and he just has a piece of parchment in his back pocket everywhere.
I'm very curious how Zane feels about the fact that this knowledge came from Mina.
Yeah, he's gonna have to talk with her about that.
In a good way.
We'll see.
Zane's mind is reeling with the possibilities.
Oh,
Aramil
really?
will tie Zane up for them. Leave him in front of the estate. Anyway, back to the game.
Okay, did you guys want to have more conversation? If so, please continue.
Has anybody else been paying attention to that song that Marcus has been singing?
Isn't it Phantom of the Opera?
I know it sounds very similar, but listen to the words.
Oh yeah, that's not Phantom.
Yeah. He's saying Kingslayer. He's saying Kingslayer. Do you remember that from the wanted poster?
I do remember seeing it, and I also remember that the image of the Kingslayer was about as descriptive as saying that it was a person. Are you sure it's not a myth? It sort of sounds like something myths are made.
I mean, certainly a Kingslayer is sounds like a legendary title, but I mean, I don't know if someone is actually looking for him, and I don't know. Maybe we should when Marcus is done entertaining, we can ask him to come over and talk about it.
Does the Kingslayer matter?
Josh, are you still here?
Yeah.
You okay?
I'm fading a little.
We can end soon. I gotta go to bed here at the very least by 12:30. But he says, oh, What was it that you just said?
Oh, that I just said?
Yeah.
Like, why are we interested in the Kingslayer?
Oh, they want an awful lot of gold for him.
What does
I don't
gold
know.
have anything to do with us completing our mission? Which would be,
It,
at the very most right now, it would be protecting Amon from Freya. I don't think the Kingslayer has anything to do with that. It has nothing to do with what I hope to one day achieve, which is finding out the fate of my kin.
gold will help you in the journey on that. It provides you with. It gives you the freedom to be able to have the equipment required to tackle quests and
Gold does nothing that
food.
nature cannot provide.
I think you're very naive in that.
Well,
Like with most things.
gold isn't something that we use when we were living in the Verdant experience. And I tried using some in the city. The worst case scenario, nature provides something of interest and you exchange that for gold. You don't need to get gold by looking for people or killing others, fighting crime that isn't relevant to the safety of the
If there's a murderer in the city, wouldn't stopping that murderer help the people in the city?
a mass murderer, maybe. Someone who's killed someone once.
How do you know this guy isn't the same? He's certainly willing to kill a king.
It doesn't seem to be reported as this. There are no
We only know that he's a kingslayer.
there are no accounts of people dying other than the king that this person has supposedly slayed.
Well, Aramil, if you don't care, then that's fine. I will look into it.
If you really think it is important, the safety of Amon to locate the king slayer help. But I just don't.
That's fine. If it comes to it, I'll talk to you more about it. But I know where you stand, and it's all good.
Now if this were the tree cutter, I'd have a thing to say to him.
And we would go after him faster than we go after the kingslayer.
Even though a
He would be a thing.
lumberjack is a profession. This would have to be someone that cuts down trees purely for sport and not for the wood.
I would go for no less than a lumberjack who cut down trees for malicious reasons.
Aramil actually laughs a little. No one would do that because cutting a tree is a grand fight that you will eventually win. There's no reason to do it without the reward of the lumber it provides. And is needed to grow, develop, but ideally you can build and live without having to cut down it. Anyway, personal philosophies aside, I think we should go talk with Vel Aaron.
Certainly. I think that'll be good.
Okay. So Josh,
Yes.
I know you're tired. Is
Yeah.
this a conversation that you feel like Charlene would play a heavy role in, or no? I guess what I'm asking is, can we continue half an hour? Maybe you head to bed and listen to the recording, or do you really want to be there for this?
I think that you guys continue on. I think I'm gonna head to bed.
Or I mean, we could certainly just end it for tonight and pick it back up next time.
Yeah, I bet Casey would be appreciative. Also, it feels like something that's up her alley.
That is true. Okay, so we will go ahead and call it a night here, which is so flipping funny because here I am like, I only have like one plot point that I want to get to tonight, and I'm worried that we're not going to have enough content, and we didn't even get to that plot point. OMG, you guys. It's adorable. Yeah.
What was the plot point?
Wasn't it meeting
Oh,
Allura?
yes.
All right, let me end the recording.
But Arabelle opened